Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
Willow is a board game based off a 1980s movie directed by Ron Howard. For those of you that were maybe little kids at the time of the release, you would have enjoyed an action-adventure movie with an unlikely hero. If you were older than a child, you probably saw a Lord of the Rings ripoff. And I don't think anybody was surprised by that, including George Lucas, who produced and I believe wrote this movie. But what you get here in this board game is a game that has aged a little bit, but still has a lot to teach games coming out today. I don't think you have a game like the Flying Frog type games without this game coming out first. If you like Flying Frog games, then I think that you'll like this game quite a bit. Now, what you're going to get here is an adventure game, and it's not going to be a slave to the movie. It will have the start of the movie, and it will have the end of the movie, and there's things that you will have to accomplish that occurred in the movie. But how you get there and what order you do it in is entirely up to you. The game has 3 different win conditions. 1 for the bad guy and 2 for the good guy. That's very unique in today's gaming. The adventure of the game is really great. Now, while the components are more along the line of standees instead of miniatures, what you would get today, the game isn't that far off of what you would expect gameplay-wise a game coming out today would be. It's simple. You're going to be rolling a dice, but you're able to mitigate those dice based on the cards you have, spells, weapons, armors, things that you will accumulate during the game. Now, your character per se will not level up, but it will level up with the things that you're able to get, and sure, some of those are a little bit random. Now, it is really neat how, like, Mad Mardigan starts out captured at the beginning of the game, just like he does in the movie. That's not a spoiler alert. You learn that pretty early on. That's just going to be part of it. The game does play up to 6 players, and this is one of the best things about the game. If you have 6 players and you want to go on an adventure game, this is absolutely what you can do, and it's team-based. One player or a couple players will play the bad guys, and the majority of the players will be the good guys. Now, if you're playing with less than 6, then people are going to have to start playing multiple characters, which is a little bit disconcerting to some players. For my style, I feel like maybe 4 players, playing a couple characters in the game isn't that bad, but some people will be overwhelmed by that. So you want to know that and get a number of players based on that. If you want to go a strict 1 player per character, you're going to need 6 players to play the game. And then as you divide down or subtract from that, you'll have somebody playing multiple characters. And that might be okay because the game can be a little simple for some, maybe a little more complicated for others, but at its core, it's a fairly simple game. This would be a great game if you want to sit down and watch the movie with your kids and pull this game out, probably 8 and above. They need to be able to read and understand some of these concepts. The game isn't overly wrong. You're going to be able to push that game ending. When you feel like you're ready to go to face the bad guy, then you go face the bad guy, where the bad guy is trying to get the baby and run with it. So as they keep coming after you, you're going to need to press the game forward at some point. Otherwise, you're going to be giving the bad guys too many chances at you and too many advantages. I actually like this game quite a bit. If this game was released today, with better components, I think this would be a game that would actually sell. I think this game could be totally reproduced. I think the Willow IP, while probably not the largest one in the world, is one that I think a lot of people at least have knowledge about. I think if you brought this game out and you took away the standees and you put miniatures in, this game would sell. I think it's unique enough. I think the rules are, while it's written kind of old Avalon Hill style, I think it holds up by today's standards. If you just sit down and read the book, you're going to get through it. It's not that complicated. I didn't recommend just starting to play. Get through the first few pages and start ready to play, and you can kind of fill in the rest of the stuff later. Willow was a game that blew my mind. I expected this game to be a joke. I expected to do a joke review of it. It is what I'm actually going to recommend to you. If you like Willow at all, search this game out. Give it a shot. Actually, give it a shot to play, especially if you have younger kids or light adventure seekers. They really might enjoy this game, and I'm going to recommend it to you for the reasons stated. If you ever have 6 people together and you want to play something that's not a party game, you don't want something with a lot of downtime, and you want a story and you want an adventure, and maybe it would be a plus if they kind of knew Willow and knew the backstory and liked the movie, or at least were knowledgeable about it a little bit, which I think most people kind of know this movie over a certain age. This is a great game to put on the table. Even if you don't usually like these older Avalon Hill type games, this is very much as a simpler, but it wasn't a mass market game at all, one I totally recommend, and it's a keeper for me. Here's the box for Willow the game. You can see a very striking poster here with what appears to be original artwork. You're going to open it up. You're going to have some advertising for a video game that will be released, or in this case, since we're in the future, has been released. You're going to get a little one-page sheet telling you that some comic books are coming out. You're going to get a rule book, which we'll look at in a few seconds. There's going to be a little place you just kind of hold your cards, and it has a little cheat sheet here. It's kind of flimsy, but it just sits on the table and you kind of use it. It's fine. You're going to have a board, which we'll take a look at in a few seconds. We're going to have these little pieces where people will have the artwork and keep track of their health and their magic. The artwork is okay. I think he looks kind of weird, and you have your powers down here. These are really flimsy, and when you put the clips on them, they kind of bow a little bit. You're going to have these cards. These are the encounter cards. They're, business card type quality, not very good. You're going to have standees that you'll be utilizing during the game for each of the characters. You're going to have pawns, like little cheap pawns that will be used only if something is too crowded, and a 6-sided die. And you're going to have a whole bunch of little cards, and they're all going to be that business card quality. The components, you do get original artwork, so you didn't go with the stills, as some people like. Here is Mad Mardigan. Looks kind of like a female elf, a little bit more than Val Kilmer to me. One thing you'll notice is because of the insert, things don't fit in here that well. The insert was obviously not designed for this game. Components, this is an old game. They're not good, but it is, I've seen worse. The quality isn't there, but I do like the original artwork that they used. As for the board itself, you can see it's very colorful. You can easily see kind of where the stops are. You've got towns that you'll be able to go to, which are really big spaces. Some of these spaces are really small, which is why they gave you the pawns, because you can't put 4 or 5 people in one space. But the big spaces you need to go to are very easily to see. And there's a key up here to tell you the different terrain that'll be there. Here's the water. It's fine. It's colorful. It's kind of goofy, but it's fine. Here's the rulebook for Willow. You're going to see the striking picture that was on the front of the box. And then you're going to jump in. You're going to see some artwork. And it's going to be really small font, which is fine. It works. But it's that whole 2.7 that you're going to have. It does go through setup. Tells you kind of what's going on in the game, which is nice. They don't come in and jump in and give you a description of what things are. Here are the characters. Here they work. These are the different cards that you'll have. Here's what you're doing. And then an overview of the turn. So you'll go here a lot and kind of follow this as you play and how to win. Great. I actually like this quite a bit. And then it moves in and tells you, no pun intended, of how to play. Moving, how the encounter cards work, the contest, searching, and fighting. After you kind of know what you're doing in the game. And then it gives a little bit more detail about spells and armies and places of power. And then the last part will be a little bit more detail on winning. So sorcery can be converted to good or evil. How you can kill Bob Morta, that's the way you want to go, and free Tyr Aslet if you want to go that route to win. It looks really complicated. There's a summary here on the back, but the rules actually weren't too bad. The game was actually pretty easy to play, and I found out that I liked it quite a bit. When you set the game, you will choose characters, and the first thing you'll choose is who's going to be good and who will be evil. And then you'll divvy up the characters based on how many players you have. So if you have 2 players, the good guys will play 4 characters, and the bad guys will play 2. Otherwise, if you're playing 6 players, there will be 4 good guys and 2 bad guys. And you're going to have a little health tracker here. You're going to have a magic tracker. You're going to tell you if you're good, kind of what your prowess and stealth start out with. It'll tell you where you start the game at and any powers that you might have or equipment you might start the game with. And that's the first thing you'll do. Then you'll put out each of the little standees wherever your character sheet set to start out with. So you're going to have Willow down here in the Newland Village. You're going to have Mad Mardigan tied up, just like in the movie. The bad guys will start at the castle. And you have a couple characters throughout kind of set up. You also randomly set out the treasure cards that will be face down in certain locations. Then you have the encounter card set up over here. In addition, what you're going to have over here is you're going to have the possum card and the transformation card. If you remember the movie where they first meet the possum, that will be over here for you to be able to set up. And then this card right here will be the transformation card of the possum. And then you'll have the spell that will allow you to find that out. And then what you're going to do is everybody's going to have a little bit of a starting resource, which will be listed on their card. And you'll see that here, and you'll have different things. And here's the little baby, or Danon that you'll be going around. This will be secretly in one of the good guys. So this will be, they'll decide who has it to start the game out with. And you'll go from there. So the first thing you do on a turn for the good guys, who will go first, is you draw an encounter card. And each good character will draw a random encounter card. And these will be spells, weapon, armor, events, and things that will occur in the game. The second thing you do is you'll fight anybody that's on your spot. If you're on a space with a bad guy, then you will have to fight them. Now to fight them is pretty easy.
So fighting, the second thing you do is if somebody's in your spot, you will have to fight them if they're evil. If they're there, it's pretty easy to do. What you'll do is the first thing you do is trade cards with anybody in your location. Then you can cast any spells. You just need to roll the dice to see if you're successful. And after everybody casts the spells and kind of see what happens, then you will use your prowess score. On the bad guys, it'll be up here on the left. On the good guys, it'll be down here. And you'll add that to any weapons you have, and you'll roll. Each person will roll a 6-sided die and add it to the score. And then you'll take damage. So let's say this roll was, everything else was equal, and just this roll was 5 minus 3, then you would take 2 damage. And you would have a bunch of modifiers with weapons and armor and your actual skills that you have. The third thing you would do is be able to move, and you can move 1 to 2 spots. Everybody can do that. Just kind of move 1 or 2 spaces on the board. The roads obviously are quicker to run down. And then if you're in a location, you can search. So if I wanted to search, you could search in that location. Now, the reason why you would search would be that you want to find people, or you'd want to find the places of power, which are the places with the treasure. I can't just walk into these places. If I'm nearby, I would have to do a search, which is a roll of the die, and plus my stealth to see if I'm able to find that location. If I am, I can move in there and try to get the treasure. The fourth thing you do, you will be able to heal 1 health automatically. At this stage, every good guy will. If you didn't move and you didn't fight, then you will be able to heal 2 spots. And then the last thing you'll be able to do is take a treasure card. If you're at a location with one of these treasures, and you'll be able to take this treasure card, and these are like the big things that you're trying to get in the game. And they will allow you, there's 3 acorns, remember from the movie. Here's Finn Razzle, so when you meet him, you can do the transformation, get the information, and he'll let you go to Tur Aslan, which is one of the win conditions. You have to find him. The bad guys' turn are going to work very similar. On their turn, instead of drawing 1 encounter, you will draw 2 encounters. And most important about these cards are these faux cards. So you can place these on the good guys, and then they have to fight this. In this case, a death dog, the prowess 3. So you'll be able to put this on the good guys to kind of hamper them and hopefully bring their health down. Otherwise, the bad guys kind of move the same way. They move and search. They're able to try to, all their goal is to try to stop the good guys. There are 3 win conditions in the game. The first one's the evil character is able to get the baby Alor Danon and take it up here to the castle. They will win the game. You play 1 more round, and that's it. If the good guy's able to get up to the castle and slay Bavmorda, who's a very tough boss to beat, and you kind of need to build yourself up before you get there, then the good guys will win. The alternative way is to get to Tur Aslan, which is a city way over there. Now, you have to have the Scepter of Tur Aslan, which is a treasure card, so you need to look at these locations with the treasure card. You might get lucky. It could be right where Willow starts out at, and if that's the case, well, then you already have it. And then, after you take the scepter there, you have to get the baby there. So if that's able to be accomplished, then the good guys would win. So the good guys has 2 win conditions, and the bad guys have 1. In conclusion, what you're to be doing mostly in this game is the good guys will be moving around trying to get the treasures and going for the 1 to 2 win conditions. So that you're going to try to get the Tur Aslan and free the people, or just go there and kill Bavmorda, which is more of a combat-heavy strategy. The whole time they're going to be carrying the baby, which the bad guys will be trying to accomplish. They will be trying to find the baby, but they're not sure which good guy has it. The baby will be moving around from player to player, hopefully. If you're in the same location, you can trade this off. So the bad guy never really knows where it's at, so there's a little bit of a bluffing game that will be going on. So their path is going to be to try to stop them by using those faux cards as much as possible and by battling the people. So it's a very easy game. You're going to be moving a lot. The bad guys only have 2 people. Now, one interesting thing is Princess Sorsha, during the game, if she meets up with Mad Mardigan, can fall in love and become a good guy, remember from the movie. So she can kind of go back and forth between good and bad. Well, there can be one traitorous move by her, but so be it. And so that's kind of going on in the game too. Otherwise, it's a very simple 1980s game. We're just moving around, trying to meet the win conditions, and the evil guys are just trying to wear you down to the point where they can get the baby and rush back up.
Who should buy this game? If you have young children and you want to give them adventure games, A+, if they have any knowledge of Willow at all, and if not, they can still get into the characters. They're pretty funny. There's even like a bad guy who can fall in love. If you know the movie, you know what I'm talking about. And that's really cool. And then she becomes a good guy if that happens. It's really neat. The whole cross-turning is in this game. Number 2 would be anybody who plays 6-player games looking for an adventure game with little to no downtime. This would be it. And the third one would be obviously fans of Willow. If you're a fan of the IP, this is something you would absolutely add into your collection. And when I gotta tell you, it's actually a pretty good game. I play a lot of mass market games that were just crap on IPs. This is one that I'm actually going to recommend to you as a keeper. I think this really might have a place in your collection. I don't know a whole lot of 6-player games that kind of are this small, but still epic feeling, that are based on a popular IP or semi-popular IP, and is simple enough to play in a party game atmosphere. Very fun game. It can also be played with down to 2 players. You're still going to need somebody rolling the bad guy. So I think it was an excellent game, and what I'm going to recommend, check this one out. I think it may be off your radar. Keeper for me. Thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate you tuning in. If you liked it, please like it and hit that little subscribe button. That really helps out the channel, lets us know that you're getting the videos that you want. If you agreed or disagree with what I said, feel free to comment below. I'd love to hear what you have to say, and I promise that I will comment back. Thanks for watching, and everybody else, keep playing.